Hi, welcome to today's conference. We're going to be talking about the laws of karma and dharma today. Okay, so the law of karma is the reaction of your action. So if we do something good, we receive something good, right? So if we do something bad, we receive something bad. So that's the law of karma. But in other cultures, that positive way it's called dharma. Okay, so that's how we're going to see it in this conference, and we're going to be able to know the difference. When we're talking about the negative effects, we'll be talking about it as karma, and the positive effects as dharma. Okay, so let me switch the slide here. And the law of karma, it's a school. Okay, it teaches us in its own way how to live, okay, how to treat others, how to be in the environment, how to be nice with the animals, with the plants, with everything around us. And silently it teaches us that everything is going to come back the same way we did it. So that's why it's a real good school for every human being. Dharma, when we do something well, we receive cosmic money. Okay, that's what we receive for every good and conscious act that we do. So if we're walking around and we see somebody that needs help with their bicycle and we stop by and we help them out, we are taking, we're giving, good vibes, and that's what we receive again. So that's what we're going to call dharma. And that money, it's like a bank that we have in the universe. So all the good things that we do go to this bank and it's transferred there daily. Okay, so we have dharma from past lives, and also the same way the wrong things that we do, the things that we owe, the karma also goes to that bank. Okay, so every time we're doing good things, in a way we're paying for those bad things too, because we have dharma. But in this conference, the objective is for us to see how can we consciously access to this bank to be able to move that dharma by ourselves, to see the karma that we owe, to see what ways we could negotiate it, how can we pay it, and know what things give us karma. But more than knowing what things give us karma is also knowing how is it going to be charged. I mean, what kind of sickness am I going to receive for certain things? Okay, how does this affect me? How does that karma is going to affect the family? How is it going to affect a whole community? Why are there some countries that have some certain kind of karma? So that's what we're going to be seeing basically today. Okay, let me just adjust something here. There we go. So the laws of karma are known by four laws. Okay, so one is the law of recurrence, which we saw the conference before because it's very deep. And this law of recurrence shows us that everything that happened in past lives happens in the next one and in the next one. So we think we're creating, we think we're doing new things, but actually it's just destiny. Okay, that's why we see that sometimes we want something so much, but yet we just don't have access to it. Okay, and we're like, my God, but we feel like we're stuck, and we're like, oh my God, but how how can I, how can it be? This is what I want to study, and I go there and they tell me you didn't pass the exam. But then I go to a private school and they tell me there's no more space. And then I try to go online, and online I see that definitely um the computer just doesn't work. I sent everything they asked me for and they never give me an answer back. Okay, so It's because of the law of recurrence. It's just that definitely things have to happen in life, and I just have to accept it. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Okay, I'm trying to share this video in my personal page. Just give me a second, but it doesn't allow me to do it. It sucks. Sorry. So let me just continue with it. The other law is the law of Talion. That's the one that tells us eye by eye and tooth for tooth. That means that everything that I do is just going to come back the same way. So I just make somebody suffer so much for something. I mean, later on, somebody's going to make me suffer the same way. So everything that goes around comes around. The thing is that we want like something immediately, and we want that to be shown right away. Like somebody hurt us, and we just want that to for that person to receive their punishment, and we want to see it, but we don't let time. Okay, but it will come, okay, in this life or in next life. The third law is the law of cause and effect. So this law of cause and effect tells me that definitely everything that I do has an effect in the world, okay? That nothing stays the same. So that I am energy, and as an energy, everything that I will do will go to that person, okay? Even our thoughts. I mean, sometimes, I mean, we say like, my God, I hope you fall, and the person falls, and we're like, oh my God, you know, I'm like, oh my God, what am I, a witch or something? I have powers. But no, right? It's my energy that in that moment I hated that person so much, and it was so much anger that it worked. Okay, so sometimes we see that cause and effect right away, or we see it more on other people. You know, we see like, yeah, I remember how you did that to that person, and look at you now. Or how much bullying you did about somebody who was really fat, and look at you now, like 12 years later, now you're so obese. Okay, and the law of equality, that means that every that we're all going to be going to the same place. Okay, that means that I attract. That's like the law of attraction. Okay, so I attract everything that I have inside me, because we're all equal. So to be in that equal energy, if inside I am just so negative, I start attracting negative people, I start attracting negative situations, because it's going to level me with what I am thinking. Okay, so that's the law of equality. Okay, now there are different types of karma, and that's the ones that we're going to be talking about here, and seeing what kind of illnesses do we receive according to some ways of us of being. Okay, I just want to try again to share it. No, it's just not gonna happen. Okay, definitely forget about sharing it. So, different types of karma. We have the individual karma. That means that it's the one that I am born with. Okay, we see that people are born blind, with an illness. Okay, that is just an individual karma, the things that I brought with myself, because it's just what I did with my last life. So that's what I deserve. Okay, so there we see like some people are born in some homes, like really wealthy homes, and we're like, my God, but you know, they're so lucky. And you're like, but why wasn't I born there? And other people definitely, like you say, like, my God, I mean, it's so sad. I mean, how can it be? I mean, how can people live that way? It's their own karma. So that individual karma, it's either in health, in money, or in love, okay, in relationships. So we see like somebody suffers so much because they say like, I was born and my mother didn't want me. I don't even know who my father was, and they let me in adoption and nobody adopted me, and it's like a whole life like you just cannot relate, okay. So that's the kind of individual karma that a person suffers. Then we have the family karma. The family karma goes with the individual karma. Okay, so when a person in a past life has been abusing of his or her power, like when they have had like positions in the government, like they're the major and things like that, like they have the access and the power to rule a whole community, okay. And instead of being nice and doing what they had to be, I mean, there was tyranny. So these kind of people, when they are born again, the karma that they have is that they are born with like with Down syndrome. I mean, they have mental disorders. They are people who definitely cannot take care of themselves, that they're always going to be needing somebody else and they just cannot rule, okay. Also here we see people who have in that individual karma, people who have practiced to be mediums, okay. When people get together and a person says, volunteers and says, okay, that spirit is going to come into my body and he will speak through me, okay. Well, there I have opened a door. So when I leave those doors open, because I just did it, okay, I mean, nobody told me to. I just opened them unconsciously, but I left them open. So in the next life, when we come back to life, the doors are still open, okay? So that's why people suffer from epilepsy, okay? Because those doors are open, so all of a sudden, people just fall, and you see how they just are there in the floor suffering, and then they just come back, okay. And it's just an epilepsy, and we don't understand like why, because those doors are open. So those spirits that I called in that life before, they just come and go inside me, because we are repeating a situation that happened in a life before, okay. Also, we see that people are born blind, for example. So when people are born blind, it's because either they suffer from a lot of anger, and you can see that when you're angry, when you're like, really, really upset, you don't think, okay. I mean, you just don't see, okay. Like you're totally blind of anger. You could just kill somebody and you just can't stop, okay. You just don't see what you're doing. And people are born blind, but also it's when we have a knowledge, okay, a knowledge of the universe, like this type of knowledge, okay. When we have this kind of knowledge and we don't share it, we're selfish, okay. We don't help people awaken. We don't help people to open up their mind to see what it's not there, okay. So since we don't give light to others, we lose that light, okay. And that's the light of our eyes, okay, the light of the soul. So that's why some people are born without being able to see, or having vision problems, okay. Also, when people have a problem with their voice, everything that is related to their throat, through their way of expression, and they just can't speak what they would like to, it's because they used their power, okay, of speech wrong in a past life, okay. So they either were always cursing, like, the whole day people just have to be saying bad words, okay, cursing and cursing and cursing. Or the throat is related with your mouth. So people who use sex in a wrong way, who were having oral sex, I mean, way too much, then these things affect um this chakra here, and that's why people come with those kinds of problems, okay. So let me just get some water here. Individual problems that become a family problem. I spoke this about in the last conference, okay, because it's like a very deep topic, but we'll just go through it like fast, okay? So, when people have had an abortion, okay, when people have an abortion, that soul just doesn't go away. I mean, if that soul had to live like 35 years, that soul is going to be with you 35 years. So imagine the kind of life that that soul is going to have. Well, the same thing is going to happen to you again, right? So that's why what you do is what you get. So in the next life, that person is going to have you, and that person is going to decide the same thing and say, oh, I'm not ready for it, I am not having it, and you're going to be in the limbo for as many years as you has to come, because we get what we do, okay? Not only does that person, that spirit stays in the limbo, but that spirit comes back to the same family for those years, and whoever made the decision, if it was either the father, the mother, or both, it's going to be always bothering them. It's going to be making them feel depressed. It's not going to let them advance. It's not going to it's not going to let them be happy. So it's going to be making them feel frustrated, to have problems, to look for alcohol, for drugs, in order just to feel well. So it's going to mess up your life. Plus, if you have another son after that, that 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 soul, it's going to be always following the new soul, okay? And that is just called, in the laws of the universe, that is just the law of the system, that says that nothing can't be excluded, okay? About that law, I spoke to it in the conference before. So if you really want to know, this same thing happens when you have raped someone, even if you have been the victim, or if you were the one who did it, when you have had abortions, when you commit suicide. These things happen in that law that I was talking to you about. So you can search back on the conference before of return and recurrence, and it's really well explained, okay? Another type of family karma is when people work with drugs, okay? Drug dealing, with money that it's not. I don't know how you say it in English though, but the kind of money that you just sent through Western Union, but it wasn't yours. You're just making a favor for somebody else to receive that money, but that money wasn't obtained in a well way, okay? Those kinds of things become a family karma. Why? Because let's see, where does that money come from, right? It comes from drugs. What happens with drugs? With drugs, um, that messes up people's life. Someone had a future. Many people had dreams until they used drugs, and what happened to their dreams? I mean, they couldn't achieve their dreams. But not only did it affect that person, which made them steal at home, do robberies, maybe get stabbed, go to jail, make them dependent, make them go and even live in the street, make them prostitute themselves. It messes up people's life. So besides that, then we have a family behind that person, and that whole family is there suffering, seeing how their son, their granddaughter, I mean their father, whoever it is lost in drugs, and there's a whole family suffering. I mean, just imagine a mother who's going to the street crying to their son, telling them, look at yourself, don't you see how you are, you're becoming a bum. I mean, can you please stop it? I just cannot, I can't sleep, I haven't slept for days, and there's a mother crying, like begging, and the person that is there doesn't even understand him. I mean, he has become a whole junkie, and the person can't even feel the sadness of their own family, okay? So there's a lot of pain, okay? And the next conference, it's about drugs and alcoholism. So I invite you next Thursday at this same time to watch it, and we're going to see how we can help people who have these kinds of addictions or any kind of addiction. um we're going to be speaking about the spiritual drugs. What different effects does it have inside us, in our soul, in our spirit, in our seven bodies. Okay, so drugs affect the individual, it affects the family, but then it goes and affects a whole community, because it's not only one family. I mean, here then we have gangs fighting over certain spaces, so they're having and making more karma inside a state, right? Not then it only begins to be a problem for the whole state, but then it begins to be a problem between other countries, because they start sending drugs from one country to another country. So that karma expands so much. So as you could see, I mean, the suffering that a person brings to him or herself, it's really big. Okay, also think about the land. Okay, I mean, how much does the land suffer when these things are planted there, right? The soil begins to dry. Okay, the chemicals that they put to these things also affects the environment. So the karma, it's really big. So what happens here, it's that um it's not only going to be in this time of life, it's going to affect the next generation and the next generation, and people from your whole family, from generation to generations, are going to be coming with really big problems. Okay, they're going to be so affected, but it is also part of a family tree. Okay, because there people have to learn how to make money in a right way, because here we have a problem of laziness. Okay, that we're looking for a quick way to make money. There's also greed. So somebody in this family tree from your descendants, somebody there is going to have to like take that karma, and that person is going to suffer more than the others in order to understand what happened, and is going to have to cut with this karma. How is that person going to make to do that? By making himself conscious of this thing that has been done through the family from generations through generation, and has to start speaking to their own family to make the rest of them understand that they have to stop. I mean, that this just cannot be. So it takes a lot of time, and it is really really painful. So is just to think about it. It's something that you have to think and understand definitely why you shouldn't do it. Okay, then we have the collective karma. Collective karma, it's the karma that you have between people that are not related to each other. Okay, it means that it's like when there's an accident in a when there's an accident in when an airplane crashes, for example. Okay, and we see, like, they tell us like 150 people died this morning because an airplane crashed. It's because they just had to die, so they put these people together and an accident happens. Either it is that a bus crashed, um when a bomb explodes, when what happened with the twin towers. So it just had to happen, and we see that there are people that definitely, you know they said like, oh my god, I was supposed to take that plane, but something happened and I just couldn't arrive. When I got there, the plane had already left, or I lost my passport, but something happened. It's because the person, his own soul was saving him from that, and it wasn't his or her time. The other kind of karma that we have is the original karma. Okay, it's the karma of, let's say, like a whole city. Okay, a whole state, for example. Okay, so it's only for that region. So that region suffers because maybe there's no rain there. Okay, because the land is too dry, so they can't plant. or maybe because the chemtrails, so the whole place have people suffer from weird diseases, okay? Also where there are mines, okay, where whatever is related with the planet Earth, okay, and wherever in that place we are taking out either the oil, um, salt, stones, I mean any kind, okay, gold. We're just taking out things from the planet, and it is actually that's the planet's richness. I mean, we're not supposed to be doing nothing with it, and we can see that in places where there are these types of mines, if you look around, definitely people there, they are so poor, and we're like, but why? I mean, if they take out gold from there, they're supposed to be rich, I mean, or at least live well. But if you look around, you're going to see that there are children barefooted, that the parents waste their money in alcohol and prostitutes, and they, I mean, just money like just goes away from their hands. Okay, that's because it's the karma of the place itself. Okay, the other, there we go. The other karma, it's the national karma. Okay, this is the karma of the whole country now. Okay, we see it like in the civil wars. Okay, that it affects the inside. We can see countries like Colombia with the guerrilla, for example. Okay, we can see like where there are, where like Venezuela, like they have problems with their president, and he, or Cuba. Okay, so those are the karma of the whole country. Okay, and people are just born there because they just had to. Okay, so it's like you shouldn't complain. Continental karma, the karma of the continents. Just by hearing the word Africa, we're like, yep. I mean, that just definitely sounds like karma, but also the karma that the North and South America had. Okay, we see how the tribes were fooled, and they were killed, and they took away their richness, and we say, their children were killed, the mothers were raped. But anyways, like nowadays we see like people hate each other from different continents, and it's like, like it was your fault, like we're all divided, like your ancestors were the ones that came here, and we hate you for that. But we shouldn't, because definitely if we see and we understand, we're going to see that what goes around comes around. And those places that did that, even nowadays we see how some European countries nowadays, they are the ones who pay, and not who pay, they're the ones who sell the guns, and all of this, I forgot the word though. Well, everything that is needed for the war. Okay, the different kinds of guns and everything, I just forgot the word. But what happens, they sell it to those countries that are in war. But what happens with the countries that are in war? They become immigrants, and they look for asylum, and they go where? To those countries that sold those things. Okay, so there you see that everything goes around and comes around, and now these European countries are full of people that are not from their country, that are from the places that are of war, thanks to them. And they just don't know what to do, because they're like, my God, I mean, we have thousands and thousands of people in our country, and the place is not safe anymore. Okay, the people who live there, they they're scared, they're frightened to see that there are other people from other countries, and they're scared because the other people, like, they don't find food, if they don't find work, they are going to have a war inside their own city, so it becomes dangerous. So everything that you do it returns, even if it's from person to person, country to country, continent to continent. I mean, definitely everything that goes around comes around. So that's why we have to live um, being racist in one side and just forget about it. I mean, we must learn to understand that definitely this is karma, and that's the result of it. Okay, that if we solve it now, that if we see it with love, with pity, and not with hate, making it worse, then it's not going to be worse for other generations, which is going to be ourselves that are going to come back in other existences. Okay, so we all could make like a better world. Okay, talking about the world, then we have the world karma. The world karma is the karma of all humanity. So we see it here when there is a world war, for example, with this pandemia, for example, with this epidemic, and we see how much it affects the whole world itself, like how everybody is right now, and they just can't go out, and everybody's locked in their homes, and the countries are losing so much money, and people who had their own jobs, who not even a job, I mean the person that put up their own store, okay, they had to close, and they owe like 2, 3, 4 months of rent, and with the space that is closed, I mean, how you're gonna pay? And then you have the other person that is upset because, like, I rented you the place and I need money as well. So it is happening worldwide. Okay, so definitely, instead of looking out, instead of being like pointing and saying and waste, well, it's not wasting, but wasting so much time in talking about the who was who whose fault is it, okay, and then we come out like thinking that this guy is the savior and you're the bad ones, and there's like this hidden powerful community that is doing all of this. And true or not, I mean, well, the best that we can do is just look inside ourselves and conscious ourselves and look at our own world karma, because we are a small world compared to this mega world, but everything that is there outside, it's inside me. Okay, so here I'm going to note that definitely um the waters are polluted. Okay, yes, they are, but why not check our waters? The waters of my body are polluted. I mean, what can I do about saving my waters? Okay, the air is polluted, but the air, it's my own mind in my own planet. Okay, so there I see that definitely my the air is related to the mind, to the thoughts. Okay, because thoughts come and go, and if I stay a lot in one thought and I make a big deal of it, I become like in a hurricane. So they are definitely related. Okay, so the air is polluted outside. Okay, well, how is my mind polluted, and what am I going to do about it? So once I start working in myself, I start cleaning my own waters through the suprasex practice. I start cleaning my own mind with the psychological death. I'm going to start eliminating the karma of my own inner world, and that's going to be reflected outside. Okay, because people outside see the difference, and they're going to start becoming conscious because you became conscious. So if I become conscious, others begin to start becoming conscious. Okay, I'm going to start having wisdom, and I'm going to be able to give other people that wisdom. Okay, so that world karma and that planetary karma, I can make it as a dharma, changing my own self. The planetary karma, it's the karma of planet Earth itself, with the environment, with how polluted the waters are, the air is, the ozone layer. Okay, that's what here we talk about that. Okay, um like the Big Bang Theory, for example, that it would be a planetary karma. Okay, then we have different karmas where we say, like, my God, they should have taught this to us in school, for example. I mean, there is something that it's the Saya karma. This kind of karma, it's the karma that I get when I have any sexual relationship, when there is a penetration. Okay, it's not when you have like kisses and caresses, but there is no penetration. There is no Saya karma. But when there is penetration, even if it's just a one night stand, here what you did is take 50% of that person's negative karma and you say, I'll pay it. Okay, and you gave the 50 of yours to that person. The thing is that we don't know the debts that this other person has. We don't know what this person owes. I mean, we don't know what kind of family karma do they have. So you could see it like in your family. If you have somebody who, if you have a story in the family, you could check it out. And you say, like, you start remembering there's a couple, right? They're married, and one of them was unfaithful. And after that happened, that messed up that person's life, and the person probably lost his job, crashed the car, was very sick, lost all his money, and you're like, my God, but the person ruined his life, and you don't understand like what happened. Okay, also you can see that maybe in a family you say, like, like some families, like, you feel like sorry for that marriage because they're always fighting, they treat themselves so bad, but they continue there, and they get a job, but like they just can't last for a long time, and nothing seems to work out, and then they finally get divorced. And after they get divorced, um they 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 get married again with somebody else, and we say, like, my God, that changed their lives so good, like, look at them, now everything is working well, they live better. I mean, they look happy, they have a great relationship with that new person. And what happened, that them two were people who had karma, a heavy karma, right? So when they divorced and they got a new couple, that couple had a lot of dharma. That person didn't have much karma. So when I shared my karma with that person, obviously that person took 50% of mine, and that other person's karma wasn't so heavy as mine. And since that person had a lot of dharma, like a lot of good energy, a lot of good vibes, and everything, the person was good with money, any kind of idea, project that they had, it will work right away. Like, they weren't even looking for something, but somebody, just gave them this and that. So they changed with the person who they were with, and now with that new person, everything changed because I left a karmic relationship. Okay, so that's where we can see how those astral ties work between men and women. Okay, the yoga karma, it's the karma that is charged when we lose the partner, when we most needed that person. Okay, so for example, we see, like, there's a couple and the baby's born, but when the baby's born, the mother dies. Okay, so that's the yoga karma. That person lost his partner the time he needed the other person the most. Okay, because now he's alone with the baby, and what am I gonna do? I mean, we needed you like the most. Okay, also, when you start working in this path, if you're going to auto realize in this life, like you say, I want to leave the matrix, and you start working in the super sex practice, then when this karma is charged, you lose your couple. Okay, definitely, like, all of a sudden you don't expect it, but you get the other person just says, yeah, that's it, I don't want to continue, I'm out. Or the person dies, But after that, you stay like for 5, 10 years without a couple, and it's because you're paying that yoga karma. Okay. Also, we have the duro karma. Okay. What does that mean? I mean, this one it's a hard one. Everything that you commit against the Holy Spirit, which is life. Okay. When we do anything, any crime against life, we pay it with pain. Okay, it will see it in a few minutes when we're going to see how to pay karma. We'll talk about this one specifically. Okay, but this one it's paid through pain and illness. So here we have to keep in mind that life begins with our own sexual energy. Okay, that we have nature itself has the power to give life. As human beings, our life is our sexual energy. Okay, so everything that we do, crimes against our own sexual energy, it's the aduro karma. Okay, so that means that when we use pills just not to be pregnant, we are going against that sexual energy. Okay, of the wrong way of using sex, it's against our own sexual energy. When we use drugs, for example, look at cocaine. If you know somebody who uses it, you know that when a person uses it, the person just cannot have sex because right away it affects its erection. Okay, so the person is going against his own sexual energy. Okay, then we have karma katansia. That means that that's the karma for the gods. Okay, I mean here there are no exceptions. Like everybody, whatever you do, that's why the karma is the the return of all actions. Okay, so let's say that there's this god that sees that, you know, planet earth, look at these people, things are getting worse. The look at the oceans, look at the air, look at the ozone layer, and he says, you know what, I think the best thing is for us to eliminate this humanity, you know, let's kill this race. And he says, you know what, I assume the karma of each person and I'll pay for it. It's his decision, right? Or somebody else, another god could say like, you know, I believe in human race. I know that they're going to be to see what they have done with the land, and they're going to develop love, and they're going to become conscious, and they're going to start working together, and they're going to make it through. Okay, and he says, I'm going to give them more time than they were supposed to be, because we have there's always, it's the law of the seven, so there must be seven races. We are the fifth race, so another race must come. But in order for that race to come, the planet has to regenerate itself. But if we leave human this race for a longer time, the planet earth is going to suffer from more pollution, from more stuff, that wrong things that we do, chemtrails now. So if the person takes that decision, he's going to pay for the karma of the planet, for all the suffering that we're going to cause planet Earth. Okay, let's see what's next. Ways to pay karma. Okay, so there are 5 ways that we could pay karma. Okay, so remember that at the beginning we were talking about dharma, and at that beginning I told you that dharma is what I receive from my good deeds. Okay, so I helped somebody cross the street, for example. Okay, so that person, it's like they were giving me cosmic money, and they gave me $1 to my bank of dharma. Okay, and so for all the good things that I do, I receive that cosmic money. Okay, and I have that cosmic money from different lives if I haven't used it. Okay, of course, if I don't know how to use it, I still have it. Okay, so we're going to see in a few minutes how we could use that money. Okay, so if we want to pay something that we did wrong in a past life, or you just say, you know what, I have karma with money, like definitely, like for business, like this is not for me, whatever business I want, it just doesn't work. It could be a business that it was my uncle's business, and he had all of these people that already knew him, and they would come and buy there, and as soon as I take that business for me and I bought it, people stopped going because I have karma with money. So I could pay for that karma with the cosmic money. So how does this one work? Is just knowing how to transfer that money from the bank of dharma to the bank of karma to pay those debts. Okay, and also another way is to know that you have this cosmic money and you could accumulate it with more money that you could consciously start receiving, because now you know that you get paid for good deeds, so you start doing more good deeds in order to have more dharma. Okay, the second one is with pain, paying karma with pain that is negotiable. Okay, that means that I know that I could negotiate this illness, for example. Okay, let's say like a person suffers from a migraine, right? And they understand this and they say, well, you know what, I could negotiate it, but I rather not do it because I want to save that money for something else. So I'm just going to pay with this pain with my migraine, and I'm not going to negotiate it even though I could. Okay, so I rather pay with pain. It's an option. Okay, the third one is, well, let's say the fourth one and then we'll take the third one. The fourth one is with charity. Okay, doing good deeds. That means that everything that I do, I get it in return. So if I'm the kind of person that always helps other people, giving them food, I'm never going to have problems with not having food at home. Okay, if I always help people, I don't know, if you're a teacher, for example, you receive more wisdom. Okay, if you help others always with love, you're so affectionate and everything, you're always going to receive favors and love from other people. So that is with charity. Okay, what I do will come back to myself. The third one, well, I lost the third one, but it'll come here somehow. The third one, with pain that is not that you cannot negotiate. That's the one that we were talking about, the karma duda one, that we said that here were the crimes against the Holy Spirit. So definitely, I mean, you pay it with pain, with illnesses. There are some things, because here, for example, in this point here, we have things like abortion. Okay, so part of it you could pay it with pain, and the other part you could pay it with your cosmic money, but not the complete um debt is paid with money. Okay, there must be suffering, unfortunately. Okay, and we're missing the fifth one because something happened with my slides here. With objective negotiations with the law, that means, and you can see it in all cultures. I mean, I really like this one because it's making commitments, and you can see that people say, like, you know what, let's say somebody has a child, and the child is, it's really really sick. It's a kid who suffers a lot, who, you know, who needs a lot of surgery, and you're like, my god, but he just had another surgery and now he's gonna have another one, and the person is suffering so much with his own child, and the person says, you know what, he makes a commitment with his own self, and he says, God, listen, I'm going to walk on my knees all the way to certain place, okay, and I will come back on my knees. And that person goes walking on their knees and comes back like really bleeding and really bad. But then they say, like, you know what? Oh my God, it's a miracle. It worked. And we see it worldwide in different religions that people say, it was a miracle. It's only that the person made a commitment. Okay, it's just this. Okay, some people have the stamp of a certain virgin or whatever that they truly believe in, and they just speak to whoever they believe in with all their heart, and they commit to this person, and they tell them, you know what, I want my mom to stop suffering, and I swear to God and I swear to you that I'm going to be the best daughter ever. I'm going to be with her the rest of my life. I'm going to take good care of her. I am so sorry for how mean I was, but please, please do me this favor. And the person just feels better, and they say again, it's a miracle, but she had cancer, and without any therapy, the person, it's perfect. It's because they made a commitment. Okay, so negotiations are with whomever you feel deep in your heart that you believe in. Okay, so here we teach you a negotiation that is with Anubis. It's the one of the Egyptian tradition. Okay, with the pharaohs, and he's the one that it's in the objective court. Okay, with 42 judges. This is all Egyptian culture. And you could, in an astral unfoldment, you can go to him and negotiate. I have done it. That's why, like I believe it so much, like, because it has worked for me. So since it has really worked for me, it has done miracles to me. I have negotiated. Well, that's the one that I teach. Okay, but you could go to whoever you believe in. If you tell me, like, you know what, but definitely, I mean, that's Egyptian culture. I don't believe in Anubis, but you believe in Allah, then you go to Allah and speak to Allah. Okay, I mean, you believe in Jesus, speak to Jesus, but to whoever. But is as long as you have faith to whoever or whatever you believe in. If you say, you know what, I am not in any religion. I mean, for me, it's just the universe, and it's a big energy, and that's all I believe in. Then concentrate in that energy, in that cosmic universe, in that universal mind, and communicate with it, and make that commitment. Okay, so we're going to see two ways to do this. Okay, the first one that we're going to see is just to transfer our dharma to the bank of karma, so that any debts that we have are being paid. Okay, so let's say that right now, things are really not working for you right now, and you say, like, my God, I have problems with my family, I have problems with money, everywhere I go, like everything is just upside down. Then we start doing this practice every day. What I'm going to do is transfer my cosmic dharma, okay, my cosmic money, to the bank of karma to pay whatever I am owing that doesn't allow me to flow. Okay, so we're going to do this, and it's a video, because here, like, I don't have the space to move and show you, but while you're seeing the video, I will be speaking and telling you which are the steps. Okay, so here we go. It's this one. So we must stand up, have our feet together, and we're going to concentrate in our heart, and we're going to ask our own Divine Father to let it be Him to make this transfer from the bank of Dharma to the bank of Karma. Then we open our arms, and we're going to raise the right hand 45 degrees up while the left one goes 45 degrees down, and then the other way. The left one will go 45 degrees up, and the right arm will go down, and then we'll go back to the same place. We're going to do this for each mantram. So the first mantram is knee between our eyebrows, knee on our heart, no, knee between the eyebrows, knee on our throat, no on our heart, nu in our belly button, na in our pelvis. So while we're doing this movement, we'll say it. Okay, so we start with knee and concentrate in our eyebrows, and we say knee. Now on the throat, knee. Then on our heart, no. Then on our belly button, no. And then in our pelvis with the same movements, na. We are going to do this 8 more times, okay? That means that it's going to be a set of 9 times. When we finish, we put our arms crossing on our chest, and we're going to have the right hand over the left hand, and we pronounce the mantra do. And there we have finished the practice, and that's how we're going to do it. Okay, so you could do this every day at any time, and you're going to start noticing how your life is going to start changing for good. Okay, now if you have something specific, like there's something that you say, I have this really bad illness and I want to negotiate this, or you have something that you did in the past, and it's in your mind, and you say, I know I did wrong, and I should have had that baby, for example, or things that are even worse, maybe a person has raped somebody else, and you say, like, what, I was drunk, I didn't know what I was doing, and it just happened. Okay, well, I mean, we're humans. Okay, so if it's like, or if you have a sickness, okay, like let's say you have cancer or any disease, that something that it like it's very heavy, a really bad karma, then we can negotiate it. Okay, remember, as I told you at the beginning, here it's going to be negotiating it with Anubis, but that's Egyptian culture. For me, it works. Okay, but for you, if you say, I'm Buddhist, I'm Muslim, I mean, then go and do the same sentence, but just when it says Anubis, then just change it to whoever you believe in. Okay, so we just start by concentrating in our heart, and we ask our own being, our Father, for it to be him, to be the one that is going to do this practice. Okay, let me just get you to the right slide. So we're going to lay down on the floor, feet are going to be together, and the arms straight open, and the palms are going to be up. Okay, all the time the arms are going to be open and the palms are going to be up, and all the time the feet are going to be straight together. Okay, so in that position we close our eyes and we go concentrate, take a deep breath, and we say the plea. My Father, my Lord, my God, I beg you, if it is your will, that you go to the heart temple of the divine justice. And once you're there, negotiate with Anubis and his 42 judges in order to, and there I tell him what's my problem, okay? In order to pay the abortion that I had, okay? And how am I going to pay it, okay? And I will pay for that. How? Okay, that's a good question. How have I done it? Okay, when I just began this course, I told him, you know what? And I promised to pay this, seeing those 50 conferences and doing them, not only watching them, but doing the activities to learn how to unfold myself, to learn how to meditate, to learn about my energy centers, to learn how to use my sexual energy. So that's what I negotiated and it was accepted. Okay, so let me just finish how you do the practice and I'll continue telling you about this. So there I tell the person, whoever I believe in, how I'm going to negotiate it, right? Okay, so then I repeat the same process but sitting down. So the first time I did it lying down, right? Now I'm going to sit, but my whole body's still the same. Legs are still together on the floor, arms are completely open, and I'm just going to sit, right? So there I'm going to sit and I'm going to do the whole plea again. Again, Father of mine, God of God, God of mind, Lord of mind, I ask you to go to the heart temple, negotiate with Anubis, his 42 judges, negotiate this, that I'm going to pay it this way, okay? And I'm going to do this 6 times that plea. So the first time I did it laying down, the second time sitting down, the third time laying down, the fourth time sitting down, the fifth time laying down, the sixth time sitting down. There I have done that plea 6 times, okay? So that sixth time when I'm there sitting down, I thank my being, my inner father, for doing this, okay, for going there to negotiate it, and I asked him to give me that answer in my dreams, okay? So this I'm going to do it every day until I get an answer, okay? So that answer is either I'm going to get an answer in my dreams. How do you get an answer in your dreams? For example, you can be dreaming that you want to cross the street, okay? And there that you're crossing the street, the light is red and it's just red and red and you just can't go. So there they're telling me that is not accepted. I mean, what how I'm offering to pay for this is not enough, okay? So it means that I have to renegotiate it and um give more, that the way I'm going to pay I have to give more, okay? It's not enough. Or maybe you dream that that you're in the store and you're going to buy something, right? And you arrive to the counter and you're going to pay, and the person in the counter tells you it's not enough, you don't have enough money. That's the answer. You don't have enough dharma. That means that you need to get more dharma, which means doing good deeds, or to offer more, okay? That business that I'm telling them how I'm going to pay, it's not enough, okay? So if it's not enough, you start thinking, like, for example, if something about drugs, okay, and you say, when I was young, I did wrong things and I started selling drugs, and now I understand that I screwed many people's life, and thanks to that, I have karma with money. So if I said, I will negotiate seeing these conferences and learning more about myself, and it's not enough, then okay. Plus, I'm going to add that I'm going to start going to do community service, and wherever they have a rehab, I'm going to go and give testimony of what I saw, of what I did, of the consequences that I am living now for other people not to commit the same thing and not to do this. So I am giving back in return to the universe the wrong things that I did. Okay? If you're a woman and you say, well, what about in an abortion? Well, in an abortion, you can say, I'm going to start going to parks and talking to the teens and telling them, if this ever happens to you, this happened to me. These are the consequences that I have, and um, I just wanted to let you know. I want to help out. This is just a volunteer work, and just talk with people and let them know, or have this type of conferences, for example, online, talking to people about them. Okay? Why is it that I'm telling you that you could negotiate watching these conferences, and more than watching is that you are going to be practicing it. Okay? Why? Because it's a whole sacrifice. I mean, these conferences, yeah, they are great. I mean, you learn a lot, but it's a big sacrifice to have more wisdom. Okay? It's a sacrifice of time, to take out time to meditate every day, to unfold, to have your energy centers balanced. Everything takes a lot of time. It takes me a lot of time to sit down, to comprehend a wrong way of being and understand why I must change. What pain have I caused to others? What does it make me do? What have I lost thanks to this defect? So I have like a whole complete notebook of these reflections, and it is a sacrifice. Of course, it is a sacrifice to see our own ways of being. Just relate this to a person that wants to quit smoking, for example. I mean, is it easy to stop smoking? And it's something simple. I mean, it's just a cigarette, but that's just an expression. It's just a cigarette. But if you're the one who smokes, try leaving that cigarette and see how much that ego makes you suffer. Okay? I mean, how much it tells you, like, wait, I mean, how am I going to deal with anxiety? And you know how many years we have been together. I mean, how you're going to stop smoking. And there you see that definitely it is a big sacrifice. That's why, more than watching these conferences, to practice them, to to sacrifice, to do the sacrifice to change for your own well-being, is considered a lot, and it's very helpful if you want to pay any karma. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, if you want to receive this conference in audio, in PDF, in any kind of tutorial, write to me and I can send it to you, or you could visit our webpage, knowledgeofoneself.website, and continue watching the conferences. As I told you, next week we will be having drugs and alcoholism. Okay, if you want me to add you to a WhatsApp group where we send you the links and extra material that we have of every conference, then you could write to us through WhatsApp to that number to be added. Okay, it's a number in Spain. It's 034-627-162744. No, sorry, 034-627-162644. Guys, thank you very much and see you next time.